What if the most powerful Mac Apple has ever built is not a giant Mac Pro, not a tower full of fans, but a small metal box that quietly sits on your desk and completely changes what professional computing looks like? That is exactly the direction Apple seems to be heading with the Mac Studio in 2026. And this time, it feels different. This does not feel like a small refresh. It feels like Apple correcting its mistakes and making a serious statement to professionals again. For years, the Mac Studio has been Apple's answer to creators who need real power but do not want the size or price of a Mac Pro. Video editors, 3D artists, developers, music producers, engineers, people who push their machines hard every single day. The Mac Studio was supposed to be the perfect balance. Compact size, massive performance, and reasonable pricing for professionals. But in 2025, that balance was not perfect. On paper, the 2025 Mac Studio looked good. The M4 Max was fast. It was efficient. It handled 4K and 8K video well. It was a solid machine for most users. But then came the M3 Ultra, and that is where things started to feel confusing. The Ultra chip was meant to be the clear step up, the option for people who needed extreme power. But in real-world use, many professionals noticed something uncomfortable. The performance gap between a fully loaded M4 Max and the M3 Ultra was not as big as expected. When you looked at the price, the problem became obvious. The M4 Mac Studio started around $2,000. The M3 Ultra version started close to $4,000. For many workloads, the extra money did not feel justified. Video exports are faster, yes, but not dramatically faster. 3D renders improved, but not enough to explain the huge jump in price. As a result, many professionals skipped the Ultra completely. Some bought the Max. Others waited. Some even went back to older M2 Ultra models because they offered better value. Apple noticed this. Apple always notices this. And that is why the Mac Studio in 2026 is shaping up to be a major reset. According to leaks, supply chain reports, and Apple's Silicon Roadmap, the 2026 Mac Studio will finally bring a proper generational leap with the M5 Max and the long-awaited M5 Ultra. And this time, the difference between the two is expected to be very clear. The Max will be powerful. The Ultra will be on another level entirely. Let's start with the M5 Max. This chip alone is expected to be a huge upgrade. CPU core counts are rumored to jump significantly, possibly up to 18 cores. Most of those cores are expected to be performance cores, designed for heavy workloads that scale across many threads. This matters for tasks like compiling large projects, exporting complex timelines, running multiple virtual machines, or processing huge datasets. These are the jobs where professionals feel time slipping away. And this is where the M5 Max should save hours every week. The GPU side is where things get even more exciting. The M5 Max is rumored to include up to 42 GPU cores. That is a massive jump compared to previous generations. But core count alone is not the full story. Apple is also expected to introduce architectural improvements that could push GPU performance 50% higher or more compared to the current generation. The kind of gain is not normal in desktop computing, especially not at Apple's power efficiency levels. For motion designers, 3D artists, game developers, and video editors using heavy effects, this matters a lot. Real-time previews become smoother. Render times drop. Complex scenes become easier to manage. In fact, the M5 Mac Studio may be powerful enough to replace many older Mac Pro setups entirely. A few years ago, that idea would have sounded impossible. But as impressive as the M5 Max looks, the real star of the show is the M5 Ultra. This is the chip professionals have been waiting for. Unlike 2025, where Apple skipped an M4 Ultra and left the lineup feeling incomplete, 2026 is expected to deliver a true Ultra chip built from two M5 Max dies connected with Apple's Ultra Fusion technology. This is not just stacking chips. This is Apple treating the Mac Studio like a real workstation again. CPU core counts on the M5 Ultra could reach 36 cores. Most of those are expected to be high-performance cores. That puts the Mac Studio firmly into serious workstation territory. This is the kind of power needed for large-scale simulations. Professional film production, massive code bases, and enterprise-level software development. Tasks that once required expensive multi-socket systems could now run on a small box on your desk. The GPU story becomes even more dramatic. Leaks suggest the M5 Ultra could feature up to 84 GPU cores. That is nearly double what the M3 Ultra offered. Performance gains could reach 90% or even more in some GPU-heavy workloads. That kind of jump is rare. It does not happen often, and when it does, it usually defines a new generation of hardware. This is not just about graphics. Apple is also expected to push AI acceleration much harder with the M5 generation. Machine learning is becoming a core part of modern workflows. Intelligent video editing, real-time transcription, advanced image processing, search across massive libraries, automation. Apple Intelligence features inside macOS will rely heavily on neural processing, and the M5 Ultra is expected to be built for that future. This means the 2026 Mac Studio is not just faster today. It is more ready for what macOS will become over the next 5 years. That matters a lot for professionals who keep machines for a long time. On the outside, do not expect radical changes. And honestly, that is a good thing. The current Mac Studio design works. The cooling system is excellent. Dual fans, large heat sink, quiet operation, sustained performance under heavy loads. Apple does not need to reinvent this. With the amount of power the M5 Ultra could generate, keeping a proven cooling design makes perfect sense. There are rumors of a new color option, possibly something darker or closer to space black. But the shape and size should remain familiar. This is a tool, not a fashion product. Professionals care more about reliability than dramatic design changes. There's also growing talk about Apple refreshing the Studio Display lineup around the same time. Higher refresh rates, better HDR, possibly mini LED or OLED in the future. If Apple times this right, the Mac Studio could become the center of a refreshed professional desktop ecosystem. One box, one display, everything working perfectly together. As for release timing, the most likely window is summer 2026. WWDC makes sense. Apple loves to show powerful hardware to developers. Early June announcements, with availability shortly after, fit Apple's usual pattern. Pricing is expected to remain similar to previous generations. Around $2,000 for the M5 Max. Around $4,000 for the M5 Ultra. The difference this time is value. If the performance gap is as large as leaks suggest, the Ultra finally makes sense again. You pay more, but you clearly get more. No confusión. No overlap. No regret. So who should consider this machine? If you're a video editor working with 4K, 8K, or RAW footage, a 3D artist or motion designer, a developer building large projects, or someone who wants Mac Pro level power without Mac Pro pricing, the 2026 Mac Studio could be the perfect upgrade, especially if you skipped the previous generation. My honest opinion is this. The Mac Studio 2026 looks like Apple getting serious again about professionals. This is not a small update. This feels like a correction, a statement. Apple reminding everyone that it can still build the fastest, most efficient professional desktops in the industry. If the leaks are even mostly accurate, this could be one of the most important Macs Apple has released in years. If you like the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon.